Local 5 is bringing the weather to a school near you with the Local 5 Weather Lab Experience. We're traveling to elementary schools all across central Iowa, performing fun experiments while explaining Iowa's weather. Visit weareiowa.com to sign up your school today.
Time today. This is called the Weather Lab Experience.
Okay, so we are going to be doing some science experiments that are closely related to the weather. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to do experiments that relate to molecules, electricity, air motion, and air pressure. The first one we're going to discuss is molecules. Everything around us is made up of molecules. You, me, the ground, okay? Everything. The air is made up of molecules. Now, how closely these molecules inside are close together and how far apart they are defines their density, okay? So if things are further apart, they're less dense. If they're closer together, we're more dense. So think of the three of us. We're just far apart, we're less dense. Now when we pull together, we're the same three people now in a smaller space. So we just made ourselves more dense. So this takes us to our first experiment, and that is going to be pop versus soda.
All right. Pop versus soda. So we have Diet Coke and we have regular Coke. And we're going to talk about density. Are they the same? Do you guys think they're the same? Well, which one is going to be, what's going to happen if I put Diet Coke in there? Is it going to sink or is it going to float in this water? It's going to sink. Who says sink? All right, who says float? Now let's find out what happens. This is why we do a science experiment to see what happens.
Float.
It's floating. You know why it's floating? Because it weighs less than the water does, right? So this is less dense than the water. It's lighter than the water, so it floats. That's why we float. What's going to happen with regular Coke, the pop? Who thinks sink? Who thinks float? Yeah, I think maybe that was it. You see that? It sinks.
Good job, and that's because why, Brad?
Why does it sink? Because it's more dense molecules. There's basically, in this we have sugar, and sugar is heavier than the other stuff in Diet Coke. So the sugar is heavier. So keep that in mind as we do our next experiment.
All right. That's our next experiment, Bray.
The next one is called liquid layers. So I'm going to take back this water. And so this is just plain water. We put in some food coloring so you guys can see it. So I am going to pour some vegetable oil on top of this. And we're going to see what happens when I pour this oil on. We're all about the experiment here. Do you think it's going to separate or do you think it's going to mix? You think it's going to mix? I heard mix. All right, what's happening? It's separating. We've got the water on the bottom. We've got the oil on top. So that means that they have different densities. So which one's heavier? The water's heavier. And then we have this oil. Brad, I need some muscle here.
I think Brad's strong. He can do it.
See if you can undo physics.
I got this.
Undo
See?
the laws of physics.
Oh,
It's all I got it all mixed up.
He did it.
He did.
Mixed it up.
He undid the laws of physics.
Wow, give Brad a round of applause. He's strong.
That's why he's the chief.
Wait a minute.
But wait, there's more.
Time out. Something's happening here. The oil's going back to the top.
You didn't undo
you
the
see
laws
it?
of physics.
Because oil likes to be with oil.
Oil is lighter, so oil goes to the top. Okay, the extra ingredient in our pop was what? Sugar. All right, so what do you think happens when I pour this sugary syrup? Do you think it floats or do you think it sinks? All right, thumbs up for float, thumbs down for sink. Oh, look at these guys. All right, let's see. We're gonna experiment.
All right, now hold it up. Do you see it at the bottom?
It's you guys have learned so much. Look at that. Give you guys. There you go.
Okay, so we've define density, right? Molecules, they're all around us, as I mentioned. You, me, the floor, the air is made up of molecules, okay? And they're not very dense at all. Clouds are made up of molecules. They're made up of water molecules. They float up high in the sky. They're not very dense, right? Okay, so to be able to see clouds, these have to go through a process called condensation, okay? And that process of condensation begins with just a little speck of dust or a pollutant. They're floating around with us in the air all the time. Now, they start bumping into some of those water molecules, and they start collecting them. Eventually, you can be able to see them. They go through this process of condensation. Okay? And eventually, they gather so many water molecules, it can't be held up in the air because they became more dense, and they fall to the ground in the form of rain or snow. We're getting close to that. So that brings us to our next experiment. Pet cloud. We're gonna make our very own cloud inside this bottle. Are you ready? Pretty simple. I mentioned that speck of dust. I'm gonna simulate that with rubbing alcohol. We just put some food coloring in it. Don't need a lot. So rubbing alcohol evaporates really quickly, if you didn't know that. So by shaking it up, it's now inside the air inside this bottle. Now, there is a little equation, okay? It's called the ideal gas law. Basically, it means pressure equals temperature. So if we increase the pressure, we're going to increase the temperature. If we decrease the temperature, we're going to decrease the pressure. Okay, that's how that part of it works, and we're going to explain and show you this part of the experiment right here. So I have an air compressor. What we're going to do is we're going to increase the pressure inside this jug. Okay, a little bit more. So inside, the temperature is actually going up inside this. What do you think is going to happen when I pop the stopper off the top of this? The pressure is instantly going to decrease. And it kickstarts this process of condensation. Warm air holds more moisture than cold air, so if we make it really cold in there, it can't hold the water in the air and it has to come out in the form of a cloud. Give me a countdown from 5 and we'll pop it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, I thought that was awesome. So, if I start increasing the pressure again, watch this. It went away. So if you watch us do the weather reports, sometimes we talk about high pressure and low pressure. On high pressure days, it's a sunny day, typically. And on low pressure days, typically there's a lot of clouds that are around. So one last time, here we All right, so that's one way we can talk about it. Kids, what we're going to do here is we're going to knock down these blocks, see who does it the fastest.
Stay right behind this.
Yep,
Okay.
come right up to the front.
All right, we're going to hold them.
Kids, you got to cheer them on. Are you ready?
Race here.
Okay. Ready? Set. Go. You'll have you step off the side. Good job, teacher. Right. Are you ready? Ready, set, go. Got it? Anyone, get there. Ready, set, go.
So, hey guys.